Chris Mackowski of Emerging Civil War. It's the anniversary of the Battle of Fredericksburg, which took place on December 13th, 1862. And to commemorate today's battle anniversary, I've decided not to visit the sunken road and the stone wall or to go down to the slaughter pen, but rather spend a few minutes reflecting today up here in Fredericksburg National Cemetery. And you can see all around me here interments that come not only from the Battle of Fredericksburg, the Battle of Chancellorsville, Wilderness, Spotsylvania Courthouse, even some Mine Run folks are here. About 15,200 soldiers are buried here. Most of them are Civil War era interments, although about 300 are from the 20th century. There are a couple spouses that are here as well. But of those 15,200 some odd soldiers from the Civil War, only about 2,500 of them are identified. When soldiers came back here after the war as part of the United States Burial Commission, most of them disabled veterans who were given jobs by the government to come back and disinter bodies from the area battlefields. And as part of that project, they tried to find as many bodies from these area battlefields as they could. But after several years of war, temporary headstones or headboards that had been erected over the course of the battles or in the aftermath of those battles had been lost, torn up, used as firewood. And so most of the bodies are unidentified. Many of these graves around me have not only unidentified soldiers in them, but sometimes parts of soldiers, portions of bodies, as the burial crews tried to disinter what they could find. But that also begs the question, did they find everyone? And I'm always convinced when I walk the battlefields around here that no, there's no way you could have found everybody out here. And that's one thing that makes battlefields hallowed ground, and why it's so important to preserve them, because not only are they battlefields, but they are cemeteries. They remain cemeteries today. So on this battle anniversary, I wanted to come up here and spend some time among these men who gave their last full measure, not just during the Battle of Fredericksburg, but during the Civil War itself and in a number of America's wars. The Battle of Fredericksburg, of course, one of the most dramatic lopsided victories for the Confederacy, and a terrible, stunning loss for the Federals. The Confederates are going to have only about 5,000 casualties here. The Federals are going to have about 13,000 casualties here. So those numbers just terribly lopsided for the Federals. And because it's on the eve of the Emancipation Proclamation going into effect, it's a terrible loss for Abraham Lincoln, who really needs military victory in order to support the emancipations, support and enforce the Emancipation Proclamation. Of course, the Battle of Stones River at the end of the month, in the very earliest days of 1863, finally give Lincoln that much needed victory that he has to have. As I walk out of the cemetery out here onto the rest of the crest of Marie's Heights, you can see just how beautiful it is. And it's a stunning reminder of the poignancy of the cost of war. And even with the city encroaching on the edge of the battlefield today, what's been 900 yards of open space behind me, but it's still a beautiful view up here, well worth the walk up to the top of Marie's Heights. You can stand here and see how beautiful it is. Stand next to that cemetery and see what the cost of war is, and be reminded of those men who gave their last full measure for the rest of us. From Fredericksburg, on the anniversary of the battlefield, I'm Chris Mackowski for Emerging Civil War.